Welcome. Today, I'll be turning this animation into this, using my add-on, Instant Physics. Instant Physics automates and enhances the popular space switching technique. I will have a tutorial by Pierrick Picol linked below for those who don't want to pay for my add-on. Big thanks to Pierrick for allowing me to use his mecha for this tutorial, and for teaching me how to animate through his excellent animation course, also linked below. We start by going into pose mode and selecting a bone. Then, we go into the animation submenu and click Create Space Switch. Within the operator panel, if you have a looped animation, make sure that the frame range covers the whole animation. If your animation already perfectly loops during playback, then you're good to go. Within the Switcher's UI panel, we have a location row and a rotation row. We will start by creating a location offset using this value. You can really go crazy with this, but a value between 1 and 4 is usually all you need. Next, I want to create a rotation offset, but there's a problem. I keep changing this value and nothing's happening. The definition of insanity. That's because this bone has no rotation to inherit from the base animation. To fix this, we simply click Rotation Offset, and voila. Notice how my torso's rotation looks like it's predicting the mecha's motion. This isn't what we want, so we will switch to a negative value. Perfect. Now it looks like it's reacting to the motion of the body. Next, we'll create a rotation offset for the head, using the same method as the previous bone. Whenever I have rotation offset active, notice how I first dial in the timing, then I adjust this other value to change the overall intensity of the rotation. From the side profile, we can see that the head oscillates back and forth. This doesn't look right to me, so I'm going to disable that axis in the UI panel. Much better. We'll create a rotation offset for both arms. Notice how I select both arms and create a switcher for both at once. You can create a switcher for as many bones as you'd like at one time. Also, the whole process is non-destructive, so you can edit the bones in any order you want. Notice how this bone isn't rotating in the direction that I would want. This is because the switcher offset is rotating on the wrong axis. To fix this, I will change the axis so the switcher points in the direction that I want the bone to rotate. This usually won't be a problem, but for custom rigs, it can happen from time to time. I dial in the bone's rotation settings in short order, and I make sure to turn off that weird rotation axis. This hinge wasn't really meant to rotate in more than one direction anyways. The minigun already has a damped track bone, so you can easily aim the gun with the rig. So for this bone, we'll only be needing a location offset. I give it a large offset so it really feels like it has weight. The layered offset between different bones brings this animation to life. Finally, I repeat the process on the antennas, but there's a problem. The two antennas perfectly mirror each other's movement. To fix this, I will give the larger antenna a bigger timing delta, and then dial in the rotation intensity. Once we're happy with our changes, we will bake every bone at once by clicking the check mark in the animation submenu. Overall, I was pleased with the result, but I thought this antenna looked a little bit off, so I went ahead and applied a Butterworth Smooth. This is the final result. Next, I will demonstrate Space Switcher Chains, a new technique that I created for quick adjustments to long chains of switchers. We start by selecting every bone in the chain of switchers. You'll notice a new submenu for your chain. When you change a value here, it affects every switcher in your chain at once. We begin by setting the value to 1. Wow, that's pretty intense, but that's okay. We'll just set a custom value of 0.1 instead. And just like that, we already have a pleasing swing animation. This is the power of my add-on. No messing around with traditional physics parameters like gravity, damping, and having to deal with glitchy physics sims. It's all pure artist-driven motion. Now, let's combine everything we've learned to animate a character swinging on this swing set. There's nothing special about this setup. I've simply parented the armature to the last bone in the chain using a child of constraint, so the character is always planted on the swing seat. Notice how the swing rotates from the top down. This makes it look like the character is passively reacting to the swing's motion. He should be the one generating the swing's motion. We'll invert the value of the rotation offset to fix this. To enhance the animation, I'll select the bone where the hand is connected, where most of the force is generated. Then, I'll scroll down in the UI panel until I see the highlighted bone. It automatically highlights whatever's selected in the viewport. I will increase the offset for this bone and the surrounding bones. Finally, I will lower the chain value so that most of the rotation comes from the hands. It's starting to come together, but now we need to animate the character. I'll begin by adding a rotation offset to the torso bone. This is a good base. Next, we'll fix the thigh bones, which are unceremoniously clipping through the seat. There are many ways to do this, but I'll simply create switchers on the thigh bones and reverse their values compared to the torso bone. They'll perfectly cancel each other out. Next, I'll offset the shin bones to create a kicking animation. Just like the antennas, I use slightly different values so they aren't perfectly aligned. I repeat the process for the head and a few other bones, and then I bake the animation just like last time. Finally, I make some manual adjustments to the elbows so that they look a little bit more natural in motion. And this is the final result. In my opinion, this is a great base to build off of. After polishing, this is the final animation that I got. For looping animations, the switcher always inherits smooth rotation. But when the parent bone suddenly stops, the switcher also inherits that sudden shift in momentum. This can look jarring depending on what you want your animation to look like, so we'll explore a quick fix for this problem. To start, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and type in Momentum. This is a free add-on that I designed to quickly add overshoot to the tails of your animations. For the first solution, go to the graph editor of the parent bone. Select the location keyframe that you want to overshoot, and then click OK. The initial value is very springy. For this animation, we're simply going to raise the decay to 0.8, so that it's more of a short jolt. Now, we'll go to the switcher's UI panel and select Refresh Space Switch so that the switcher inherits the new parent rotation. As you can see, it smoothly and springily bounces to a stop. This solution is great if you have multiple switchers and you want them all to inherit the same parent rotation. But let's say you don't want any follow-through on the parent bone. Then, we'll simply revert our change, bake the switcher's animation. Now we'll go to the switcher bone. We'll go ahead and fix these curves real quick. Not because we need to, I really want to. Then, we'll overshoot both the location and the rotation, using the same value we used on the parent bone. Now the switcher has subtly satisfying overshoot, and the parent stays perfectly still. And that's about it. I'll see you later.